Hey, what's up? I wanted to say something. I didn't look in the mirror before or in the camera. It's like yesterday was brutal and today has been a really hot day, but I have something to say to the young women. And they may not like everything I have to say, but that's not the point. The point is it's something they need to hear. It's something they need to hear. And it's something that I don't think other people are. I mean, I haven't seen anyone talking about this. No one. I don't think I've ever even seen this subject broached at all by any woman, feminist or not, and really being a feminist has nothing to do with it. I'm fine. In fact, I've found more toxicity in the feminist movement than I have amongst the housewives. I'm just gonna say that. I know, and I'm not dissing anyone. I'm just stating a fact. It's not a criticism. Excuse me. So, to the young women, and just like hear me out on this, because if you're in your 20s and your 30s, or even maybe a teenager, you need to hear this. When I was a young woman, because I mean, obviously I'm older now, my gray hair, and you know, things are different when you're older. But when I was younger, if someone had told me, because all my mother ever told me, and like, you know, friends that I had, like, you know, female friends, girlfriends that I had, all I was ever told was, you know, you shouldn't sleep with men or boys, guys, whatever, because of the pregnancy thing, right? That was like the thing. And then the other reason that I was always told was like emotional attachment, right? Well, like, what if you're not dealing with either one of those? And so you tell yourself, which is what I did, you know, that sleeping around is fine. Like, being promiscuous is not a big deal, as even almost as promiscuous as the boys, because I'm not going to get pregnant and I'm not emotionally attached to these people. And while both of those things may be true, because it was for me, I didn't have, you know, significant emotional attachment. And on top of that, you know, I didn't worry about getting pregnant because of birth control. So, you know, like, those two things were, you know, off the table. And so then, but like later, you know, I think around like age 40, I started to realize how much my sexuality had been used against me like a weapon. I'm not even kidding. And I don't mean like in a, you know, feminist, you know, like a kind of way where I was fighting against something. Oh no, this was something that was so deeply ingrained in me. You know, this idea of independence and this idea of strength. And, you know, part of that strength being that I didn't get emotionally attached to people very easily. And, you know, kind of like touting that as like something that was good. And, you know, while it may be good if you're having healthy relationships, you know, to take some time to, you know, get attached to somebody. When you're just like going through your life and you can kind of just take it or leave it, it's a warning that your nervous system is so overloaded with trauma that you're not even dealing with it anymore. You're just like, you know, because that's what I did. I'd push everything to the side and swim through the middle, you know. Doesn't bother me, right? I don't care. Well, shit catches up with you. It really does. Like, really seriously. And, you know, if someone had told me, one of the things, you know, like I said about pregnancy and emotional attachment, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not worried about either one of those, so, well, you know, what's the problem? I'll just sleep with the guys. But what nobody ever told me, sorry, my throat chakra is giving me some trouble. Somebody doesn't want me to tell this. What nobody told me was that it's not cool to sleep with all those guys. Those guys don't give a fuck about you. I don't care what they say. I don't care how they even act. They don't even know themselves. Oh, confirmation. They don't even know themselves. So they can't love you. They can't even be your friend, really. It's not until people are almost completely awake, like as in enlightened, as in, well, wisdom is definitely a part of it. But, you know, nobody ever told me or just sat me down and just said, you know, why would you devalue yourself? Valuing myself wasn't even a fucking idea when I was in high school or coming out of high school, and none of my friends valued themselves. Not one. And the ones that did were toxic, narcissistic bitches who had that, that toxic form of self-love that, like, people think self-love is toxic because of those examples, which is not an example of self-love at all. Because when a woman values herself, period, this is the point. It's not about not sleeping around. It's not about any of that. It's about valuing yourself. And if anyone had told me, hey, look, it's like you're like basically a diamond, and every time you sleep with a guy, you're like roughing up one of the surfaces so it doesn't shine anymore. Like, nobody told me that. And after a while, you just got a diamond with a bunch of faucets on it that have been, obliterated. I mean, not that you could use sandpaper on a diamond, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you get the point. It's an analogy. Oh, it's actually a metaphor, I think. Is it? I don't know. Yeah, an analogy. It's an analogy. Kind of a metaphor too. Literature. But nobody ever told me that. Nobody told me that, it's not just about like being thought of as a slut or anything like that. Like, you're giving your spirit away. You're giving your energy away every time you spread your legs. Every time. Every single time, even if it's to the same person. And unless you're in a relationship where you're being valued and there's a long-term commitment with that individual, I mean, hey, maybe you're already in a relationship and you feel devalued. And then what do? Right? Well, stop having sex with them. Because that is a way of, it's not just like, and I really encourage people to think of it this way. Let's see. It's a spiritual exchange. It's an energy exchange. I don't know how to put this in terms that, well, I do. How to put this in terms that, like, people who are spiritual, quote unquote, spiritual and New Age, although New Age is all ancient wisdom, but not followers of Christ, I think. Because when you don't have some kind of foundation, and even in the church, though, I was taught emotional attachment and pregnancy. It wasn't about anything else. Nobody ever told me that that's a spiritual exchange between two people. And like, I kind of knew that, but like when it's downplayed so much, and it is, and we're so deceived. I was so deceived about this being like a very serious spiritual exchange. Think of your energy like money. It's the most priceless. It's more priceless than money. Your energy is. Everybody's is. Like, and I'm not saying that to say, like, make it selfish, like, oh, my energy is expensive. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But when you value your energy above all else, you stop throwing it around. And I'm not talking about just, like, throwing your, around. I'm talking about, like, your energy in general. Like, stop hanging out with those girls that talk shit behind your back, and you know they do. You know they do. Maybe they're not girls. Maybe they're full-grown women. Maybe they're from your church. Stop talking to them anyway. If they ask you about it, just say, you know what? I'm walking God's plan for me right now, and I just don't have time. Sorry. Or if you're really brave, you could just tell them, well, you know what? I'm not going to engage with you anymore socially because I am fully aware that you've always backbited me, and frankly, that's Jezebel's spirit, and I don't want to be spiritually connected to people who manipulate other people, or even attempt to. It's not right. So, many blessings to you, and vaya con Dios. Go with God. Like, I'll pray for you, and sincerely mean that, although I don't think many people mean it when they say they're going to pray for one another. Most people don't, or people will say, like, I'll pray for you, and they look down their nose at other people. See, these are some of the problems I have with people who call themselves Christians, because that's not Christian behavior at all. And not to say I've never engaged in less than Christian behavior, but obviously if I'm talking to you about promiscuity and about boys sleeping with boys, one is two. So I've been there, and as a young woman, like I said, emotional attachment, pregnancy, okay. But like, what about the spiritual engagement? Like, you are tied to that person. If I had known that, like I know it now, I would not. No, no. For real? Hell no. Yeah, no, never. No way. You know, there are relationships, sexual relationships, and relationships with men that I had sex with that I would never have even looked at them if I had known how deep soul ties go and how hard it is to dig that shit out later. Oh my God. It's just the worst ever. It's like the worst hair treatment you ever had, and you have to like shave your fucking head and then like grow it all back, only it's worse than that. So please, ladies, girls, women, I don't really care if you're a man or a woman really at this point, because really, like, men do the same thing. You know, this whole fuckboy thing. Like, what? And so men suffer from it in different ways, but it is a devaluing, it's a degrading of ourselves. And this is what the Matrix feeds on. Now, if you want to feed the Matrix and you want to be plugged into it, you know, and be serving all the Agent Smiths, by all means, continue with your behavior. However, if you can hear me and you are resonating with what I'm saying to you, because it's the truth, and I say it completely out of love, 100%. I'm saying this because I don't have kids of my own, and my dog, you know, is a virgin, so, you know. But if you're resonating with this at all, please listen when I say, you know, at least consider. You don't have to change anything. Fucking don't listen to anything anyone else says. Especially if they don't have the life that you want. If they're not the kind of person that you want to be inside, and they don't reflect the kind of qualities that you want, don't listen to them. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your teachers, your professors, your coworkers. Don't listen to them. You know, especially if they're criticizing you. If they're criticizing you and they have nothing that you want, don't listen to them. But if this is resonating with you, please listen. Because I really wish somebody had said, I always wanted like older brothers or older sisters to like kind of explain things to me, because all I had was a mom. Excuse me. And I came from a, you know, single parent family with 3 kids where I'm the eldest. So I was raising those kids. Best birth control in the world. But, I'm kidding. I mean, I am, but I'm not. It's a both thing. That's a paradox. Like, I love kids, but I don't want on my own. Anyway, please think about valuing yourself, because the greatest gift, at least consider your own version of what I'm saying. You don't have to consider mine, because I know what it's like to, you know, think, oh, well, that person was right. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about what's doing best for you. So please consider where you spend your physical time, and not just sexually. I mean, like the people you hug, the people you shake hands with, the people you sit close to, even in class. You know, it's important. It's more important than I can say without sounding like some kind of, you know, some kind of psychic nut or something like that. And I'm neither one of those things. Stop, please. Although my skills with that are far beyond psychic. There just really isn't a name for what I do yet. Anyhow, please consider it. The young ladies and young men too, you know, even if you're not really young, you might be in your 30s. Who knows where you are in your age? It doesn't really matter. But when you start considering how valuable you are. And like I said, not from some toxic place where you're like, oh, I'm just so valuable. No. I mean, like, really seeing how valuable you are. Seeing how valuable you are. And when you realize how valuable you are, you realize how valuable everybody else is too. And that none of us, in fact, are any better than the others. Our actions may be better, but we are not better. And it's very important to understand that. Anyhow, please consider how sleeping with young men takes everything away from you. And young women, whichever side of the spectrum you're on. It's not, gender is not a spectrum. You're either male or female. I'm not sorry about that. I didn't make up the rules. It's nature. It's the way things were meant to be for a reason. But anyhow, without getting off on that subject, which is a whole nother way that the Matrix literally harvests energy off of us. What do they use? Fear, confusion, violence, sexuality. These are some of their weapons. Depression, anxiety. It's really nasty out there. And if people really knew, if they really understood, pardon the noise, please, if they really understood how much they've been used, there would be more of an outrage about it. Guaranteed. Hashtag never forget. It would be bigger than 9/11 ever in the whole world. It would be bigger than, and I hate to say this, I hate to bring up something like this, but it would be bigger than the Holocaust. This is the kind of shit that I spilled some tea or something like in my car console. My bottle, this one was sticky, and I had another one that was sticky, another one. Anyway, but if people really knew, like on a personal level, if they really stopped to think about it for even 5 minutes, how much has been stolen from them, their children, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, I mean, and it gets worse than that. And when you know the things that I know, you stop wanting to feed into the game. You just fucking done. I'm done. Like, I just cannot. It's so bad. When you start to realize, because I spelled it over here too, when you start to realize how much has been stolen and how the whole system, everything was set up so unfairly to begin with, that you really never even had a chance. Even if you did wake up really early in life, you never really had a chance of staying awake, not on your own. Nor did you, even if you were awake, you would have had to do it completely alone. And, you know, if somebody didn't, you know, end up killing you or some fucking crazy shit like that. And I know this sounds crazy, but like, seriously, if people really had any idea what was going on in this world right in front of our eyes, that's the craziest thing about it, is that it's all right there to see, and people just don't want to see it. It's uncanny stuff. So please, if this resonates with you at all, and you hear me at all, and it resonates at all, something about it, you know, something about it when you just hear something and it doesn't leave you, it sticks with you, remember what I said. And it's not about me. Put whatever face you want on my face. Just remember what I said. That you're devaluing yourself. It's not just about emotional attachment or a pregnancy. It's not just that. It's more than that. You're more than that. This is what the system doesn't teach us. That we're worth so much. If we weren't worth so much, then why do they battle for our very souls? It's a legitimate question to ask. And it's even more legitimate to ponder that shit. So, you know, in your daily, and people on social media too. That's another thing. We don't think about that very often. But people who aren't necessarily seeing your videos, or seeing, like, you know, visual content of you, but like consuming your ideas, consuming your content, whether it's, you know, a video of something else, your dogs, who knows. But it's a portal in, so you need to make sure you lock that shit down spiritually, like energetically. You know, I mean, you know, people are very into tarot and things like that. It's another portal. How many portals can you have open without, you know, just like losing all the hot air inside, you know, kind of thing? You can't. So, you know, just be careful about the people you sleep with, shake hands with, sit next to in class. You know, even the people that you like are driving in traffic with, you will pick up on their energy. And I wish that more people were, you know, extremely efficient at energy work, and they're not. They're just simply not. I don't care what you think. Even the most seasoned of us get stuck sometimes. And things are just overwhelming sometimes. And anyone who thinks any differently is either fucking delusional or they're lying to you, because it's not anything simple or easy. It takes an extreme amount of discipline, and it can take a lot of effort, although not always. But be careful who you sleep with, please. If you happen to be a virgin and you've never slept with anyone, don't overthink it. You know, like, don't freak out. Just be aware is all I'm saying. You don't need to change anything, you know, but like usually when people are actually aware of the consequences and the I mean, I don't know what else I could call them, curses, you know, that come down the line just from sleeping with someone. No wonder the Bible says don't do it before marriage. No wonder. I mean, all of a sudden it's like, you know, I kind of knew some of that stuff was true, but I didn't understand the extent of it. How important it is. Like, it can change your life. Who you sleep with. I know, right? It sounds stupid, but it's 100% true story. True story. Believe it. Or don't. It's really up to you, but like, I'm telling you the truth. So, you know, if you consider the other two things, but not maybe what I was talking about, you know, the spiritual aspect of it, just consider it. Because you'll start seeing that, you might not see it for a while. You might not see it at all. But most people will see that. How extremely important. There is no thing as casual sex. No such thing. You are creating a soul tie every time. Every time. Even making out with somebody. So, anyhow, I hope this video finds you blessed. It's a really warm summer day, so... Oh, confirmation. Oh, excuse me. Love, blessings, and compassion, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Peace be with you.